There is a technology entering your life right now that is unlike anything that has come before, not because it is faster, not because it is more powerful, but because for the first time in the history of tools, it thinks imperfectly, inconsistently, sometimes wrongly. But it thinks, it reasons, it creates, it engages with ambiguity in ways that no previous technology has ever managed. And the people who understand what that actually means, who learn to work with it intelligently, who neither dismiss it nor surrender to it, will have an advantage in the coming decade that is genuinely difficult to overstate, and the people who ignore it or who hand it their thinking entirely will pay a price that is equally difficult to overstate. Today we go completely inside one of the most important and genuinely clarifying books written about artificial intelligence and the human future, so completely, so thoroughly, that by the time this ends, you will not need to read a single page yourself. Every concept, every framework, every insight, right here. This is Co-Intelligence by Ethan Mollick, and nothing about how you think about AI, your work, or your own capabilities will feel the same after this. Ethan Mollick is a professor at the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, one of the world's leading business schools. He has spent years studying innovation, entrepreneurship, and the relationship between technology and human performance. And when large language models became genuinely capable, he did not study them from a distance. He immersed himself completely. He used them daily, experimented relentlessly, assigned them to his students, and published some of the most widely read and cited research on what AI can actually do in real-world conditions. His conclusion is neither utopian nor apocalyptic. It is something more useful than either. It is honest. AI is genuinely transformative, not in the science fiction sense of robots replacing humans, in the immediate, practical, already happening sense of a tool that augments human capability in ways that have no precedent. And the question is not whether this transformation is happening. It is happening. The question is whether you are going to engage with it intelligently or be shaped by it passively. This book is for you. If you have tried AI tools, found them impressive but inconsistent, and are not sure how to integrate them into your work in a way that actually matters, this book is for you if you feel a background anxiety about what AI means for your career, your skills, your relevance, and want an honest framework for thinking about that anxiety. And this book is for you if you sense that the people around you are either wildly overestimating or wildly underestimating what AI actually is, and you want to understand it clearly. If any of those land, stay with this. The first idea is the one that reframes everything about how you relate to AI tools. Treat AI as a colleague, not a calculator, not a threat, a colleague. Mollick introduces the concept of co-intelligence. The idea that the most productive relationship with AI is neither using it as a simple tool that executes instructions, nor surrendering your judgment to it as an authority. It is something more nuanced, more collaborative, the relationship you have with a brilliant but flawed colleague, someone whose input you genuinely value, whose blind spots you have learned, whose strengths you actively leverage, and whose outputs you always review with your own judgment. This framing matters because it changes how you use AI completely. The person who treats AI as a calculator asks it for answers. The person who treats it as a colleague asks it for perspectives, for drafts, for challenges to their thinking, for alternatives they had not considered. And the quality of output from those two approaches is radically different. Mollick also introduces what he calls the jagged frontier. AI capability is not a smooth curve. It is jagged, extraordinarily capable in some areas, genuinely superhuman, surprisingly weak in others. And the jagged frontier is not where most people expect it to be. AI often outperforms humans on tasks that seem complex, like drafting a legal brief or writing code, while underperforming on tasks that seem simple, like reliably counting words or consistently applying a specific format. Understanding where the jagged frontier lies in your specific domain is one of the most practically valuable things you can do. The practical question right now is, in your specific work, where is the jagged frontier? Which tasks that currently consume your time might AI handle better than you expect? And which tasks where you might be tempted to delegate to AI require exactly the human judgment that AI currently lacks? The second idea is the one that permanently changes how you prompt and use AI tools. Always invite AI to the table, but never let it sit at the head. Mollick is direct about what he calls the default problem. Most people use AI reactively. They have a task, they ask AI to do it, they take the output and use it. And this approach systematically underuses AI's capabilities while simultaneously overusing its judgment. Because AI's first response is almost never its best response. Because the quality of AI output is directly proportional to the quality of the conversation. And because handing your thinking to AI and accepting whatever comes back is not co-intelligence, it is outsourced intelligence, which is a fundamentally different thing. The better approach is what Mollick calls iterative collaboration. Use AI early in your thinking process, not to produce the final output, but to expand the initial thinking, to generate alternatives, to challenge assumptions, to surface considerations you might have missed, and then bring your own judgment to bear on what AI produces, refine it, push back on it, and use it as raw material rather than finished product. He also talks about the importance of maintaining your own skills. One of the most dangerous patterns he identifies is skill atrophy through delegation. Using AI for tasks you used to do yourself gradually erodes the capability that made your judgment valuable in the first place. The writer who stops writing and only edits AI output gradually loses the writing muscle. The analyst who stops analyzing and only reviews AI conclusions gradually loses the analytical judgment. The collaboration only works if both sides of it remain capable. The third idea is the one that most people in most organizations are completely unprepared for. AI is not coming for the bottom of the skill ladder. It is coming for the middle. Mollick presents research findings that genuinely surprised him and should genuinely surprise you. The conventional assumption about AI and work was that AI would first automate the lowest skill tasks, the routine, the repetitive, the easily codified, and that high-skill, high-judgment, high-complexity work would be safe longest. The research says almost the opposite. AI is currently most capable and most disruptive in the middle of the skill distribution. The tasks that require significant training, that produce outputs with clear quality standards, that involve synthesizing existing knowledge rather than generating genuinely new knowledge. Legal research, first draft writing, basic coding, financial analysis, preliminary diagnosis. These are not low-skill tasks. They are exactly the tasks that define the early career and mid-career stages of many professions, and AI performs them well. The people most immediately affected are not the unskilled. They are the newly skilled. The people who recently completed the training that qualified them for exactly these tasks, and the people least affected, at least for now, are at both ends of the distribution. The genuinely unskilled whose work requires physical presence or simple human interaction, and the genuinely expert whose value lies in judgment, creativity, and the integration of deep domain knowledge that AI currently cannot replicate. The practical question this forces is, where in the skill distribution does your current work sit? And what are you doing to move toward the kind of genuinely expert judgment that AI currently cannot replace? The fourth idea is the one that provides the most practical framework for navigating the transition. Develop your personal AI policy. Before someone else develops it for you, Mollick argues that the absence of a deliberate personal policy about AI use is not neutral. It is a choice to be shaped by defaults, by what other people decide, by the path of least resistance. And in a technology transition this significant, that choice has real consequences. A personal AI policy answers three questions. Where will I use AI to augment my work? Where will I deliberately choose not to use AI to preserve and develop my own capabilities? And where am I genuinely uncertain and need to experiment before deciding? The first category is augmentation, where AI genuinely amplifies your output without compromising your judgment. Research assistance. First drafts, brainstorming, summarizing. Tasks where your value lies in what you do with the output rather than in the production of the output itself. The second category is preservation, where using AI would gradually erode the capabilities that make your judgment valuable, the skills that require practice to maintain, the thinking that requires struggle to develop, the craft that requires repetition to deepen. These are the tasks where choosing not to use AI is not backwardness, it is investment. The third category is experimentation, honest uncertainty about where the jagged frontier in your specific domain actually lies, where the right response is deliberate experimentation with honest reflection on the results. Write your personal AI policy this week. 3 categories. Honest answers. And revisit it every 6 months as the technology and your understanding of it evolves. The fifth idea is the one that addresses the deepest anxiety. The future belongs to people who are irreplaceably human. Mollick is careful and honest about what AI currently cannot do. Not as reassurance, as clarity. AI cannot form genuine relationships. It cannot take responsibility. It cannot exercise the kind of judgment that emerges from embodied experience, from moral weight, from the genuine stakes that come with being a person who exists in a world with real consequences. It cannot care, and caring, in the deepest sense, turns out to be extraordinarily valuable. The skills that compound in value as AI becomes more capable are not the skills that compete with AI. They are the skills that complement it, the ability to ask the right questions, to exercise genuine moral judgment, to build trust, to synthesize across domains in ways that require genuine wisdom rather than pattern matching, to communicate with the kind of authenticity that only comes from genuine experience, to lead, to inspire, to decide under conditions of genuine uncertainty. These are not soft skills. They are the hardest skills, the skills that take decades to develop and cannot be shortcut by any technology. And in a world where AI handles an increasing share of the cognitive labor, these skills become not less valuable. They become the most valuable thing a person can develop. The question is not, will AI replace me? The question is, am I developing the skills that make me irreplaceably human? Now, let me give you the central truth that sits at the heart of everything this book is trying to tell you. AI is not the future. It is the present, already here, already capable, already reshaping what work means and what skills matter. And the people who thrive in this present are not the people who resist it, or the people who surrender to it. They are the people who engage with it honestly, intelligently, deliberately. Who understand where the jagged frontier lies. Who maintain the human capabilities that AI cannot replace. Who treat AI as a colleague whose judgment they value and whose outputs they always review. who build a personal policy based on honest reflection rather than default behavior. Co-intelligence is not a compromise. It is the highest form of intelligence available. Right now, use AI intelligently. Stay human completely. Now, the honest warning. Reading about AI will not make you skilled at using it. Understanding the jagged frontier will not automatically position you for the transition ahead. Watching this video will not develop the irreplaceably human skills that the coming decade will reward. Only practice will. Only the deliberate, honest, sometimes uncomfortable work of experimenting with AI genuinely, maintaining the capabilities you cannot afford to lose, and developing the human judgment that no technology will ever fully replace. Knowledge without practice is just commentary on a transition you are watching. Instead of navigating, engage intelligently. Starting now. Here are your 4 action steps. This week, Step 1. Identify the jagged frontier in your specific work. Choose 3 tasks you do regularly. Use AI for all 3 this week. Honestly assess where it genuinely helped and where it disappointed. That assessment is your personal jagged frontier map. Step 2. Write your personal AI policy. 3 categories: augment, preserve, experiment. Be honest. Be specific. Revisit it in 6 months. Step 3. Choose 1 capability you will deliberately not delegate to AI this month. 1 skill that requires practice to maintain, that would atrophy if you stopped doing it yourself. Protect that skill. Actively. Step 4. Have 1 genuinely iterative AI conversation this week. Not a single prompt, a conversation. Push back on the first response. Ask for alternatives. Challenge the assumptions. And notice how much better the output becomes when you engage as a colleague rather than a user. Let us bring this home. Co-Intelligence by Ethan Mollick is not a book about technology. It is a book about judgment, about the deeply human capacity to engage with powerful tools wisely, to neither fear them nor worship them, to use them where they genuinely help, to resist them where they genuinely harm, and to remain irreplaceably human in the ways that matter most. It teaches you that the question is not whether AI will change your work. It will. The question is whether you will shape that change or be shaped by it. So let me leave you with 1 question. If AI handles everything it currently can in your work, what is left that only you can do? Drop a comment below and tell me which idea hit you hardest. Was it the jagged frontier, the skill atrophy warning, or the question of what makes you irreplaceably human? I read every single one. And if you are not subscribed, do that now. Because next week we go even deeper. I will see you there.